Hi, everybody, and welcome to the weekly market wrap for June 30th, 2017. This week, we're going to keep it really short. I know we have, for a lot of you, a very long 4th of July weekend ahead of us. So I'm sure you guys will be going with the hot dog and hamburger thing instead of watching the video as much. So I'll keep it short and sweet. What we're going to do is get right into it. This week we added a company, MBIA Incorporated. MBIA is a company that does insurance and financial guarantees for municipal bond offerings. And this company has been in a little bit of a downtrend over the past couple of years. What we're looking at here is a weekly chart. And what we saw filed today, actually bought on June 28th, a director, Charles Reinhardt, purchased $370,000 worth of the stock at $9.25. Now, what's interesting, as always, as we look back to his track record, and what we found was the last time that he bought shares, he bought the shares at $6.33. So it's always good to see that he was right then, obviously the stock being higher, and he's buying more at a higher price, actually 46% higher than where he did originally. So we have a target on this of $11.73, which essentially gets us right to the previous most recent highs and a risk of about 833. So it's kind of, hey, if it breaks the bottom of the range, we're getting out. If it comes near the top of the range, we'll lock in about a 30% profit. So from a risk reward ratio, it's about 3 to 1, and I'm happy with that. Secondly, what I wanted to go into was just, like I said, I want to keep this brief this particular week. Just kind of let you know what's happening with the overall market. So, a couple of sectors pushing and pulling, and that's why I think we have such volatility the last couple of weeks in the market. Number one, we're looking at the daily chart of the NASDAQ 100, the triple Qs ETF, and what we've seen coming into June was continuous low volatility uptrends that would just really, hurt the bears, just constantly kind of like a water torture, just slow and steady, just grind higher. And then we had that one big day, which to me was a little bit of a warning saying, hey, we're just not in that normal, just beat the drum and go higher. And all of a sudden, we're in a position right now where we have consecutive lower highs and lower lows. So it doesn't mean the world is ending, doesn't mean that, nobody's ever going to buy a tech stock again. It's just telling us that, hey, price, which is a very, very big factor on what's going to happen in the future, is signaling that there may not be as much demand as there previously was for these particular companies. So we'll try and keep that in play in our minds so that when we do make these risk reward ratios, we try and keep the risk a little bit tighter now, given the overall market is not necessarily showing us a tremendous amount of strength. Now, secondly, oil, this is the ETF for the USO. So this is a weekly chart that we're looking at. And what we see here is that in January of this year, we had about a 17% decrease in the value of oil despite this particular week's upswing. We're still down about 17%. One of the worst performers in the S&P 500 was the oil sector. So we have a lot of supply in the oil sector. We have a lot of OPEC, basically, the wheels are falling off the OPEC wagon, essentially, and the U.S. shale production is not really giving up. I mean, we're just continuing to pump oil, and I think with Trump in office, he just outlined a whole energy policy that basically says, "Hey, we're going to try and pump as much as we can," and I think that's having an effect on oil. So that's another sector to just keep an eye on. And lastly, this week in particular, we actually got some news out of the financial sector saying that all of these companies, with the exception of Capital One, but they still passed, they all passed their stress test, and all of these companies were able to increase their dividends and buybacks announced yesterday. So that's why on this daily chart, what you're going to see, or what we did see actually, was a bit of an increase in value over the last few days here, because I think people were anticipating that. So just wanted to bring all this to your attention. Wish you guys have a great weekend. For those of you that are kind of taking off till next Wednesday. God bless, and have a happy 4th of July. Thanks.